Can we practice something right now?
Can we?
Yeah, together. Can you
Yeah.
give me an assignment and then correct me? Can I?
Are you going to write it or are you going to
Well,
say it?
I'll just probably say it. Just maybe, I don't know, if I was in the class
Okay.
and you were
It's hard
testing me.
to say it. I mean, it's about writing, but
Okay.
I've given you the 4 voices, right? Plus writing like you talk, right? So you got writing like you talk. You've got that high voice that's a lot of chit-chat stuff. Boy, you won't believe what happened. And then, man, knocked me for a feather, but I was there, blah, blah, blah. Then there's the fancy voice, poetic. Lots of images, metaphors, similes, all that kind of crap. And then there's that read and sung where you take something and you repeat it. Anything, it doesn't matter. Whatever you say, you can repeat it 3 times. Whatever you say, you can say it twice. Whatever you say, you can say it louder. Whatever you say, you can say it softer. Whatever you can say it with more feeling. Whatever you say, you can say it deadly. In other words, any phrase is repeatable. You just have to repeat it and then add the rest of the sentence. The rest of the sentence is what would be different. See, in a larger sense, we cannot, what? Dedicate. We cannot, what? Consecrate. We cannot, what? Hallow this ground. So that's the repetition. And then the last voice is total nonsense. Now, do you want to do it? Is that what you want to do?
Do you want to give me a topic? I can't.
Oh, no, we don't do topics.
You don't do topics, okay.
I'm sorry. I don't do windows.
You don't do, no
and we
window.
don't do topics.
All right. I got to call your manager here then.
So you're just going to, in other words, I'm going to call out the voice. In other words, what I want you to do is just to talk. And if you talk, eventually you'll probably get into something you remember or something will come up. Don't worry about it. So if you fail, who cares? What are you worried about?
Yeah, who cares?
However, I will say, if I say straight talk, or if I say lost world, that's fancy schmancy. If I say read and sung, that's the repetitious voice. If I say absence of field, meaning no rhyme or reason, just nonsense. And if I say like you talk, just talk like you talk. Okay? So you'll just start blabbing about anything. Okay. Are you ready?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Ready? Go.
Okay. I'm noticing that food prices are going up a lot. Things seem very expensive, and I'm not quite sure why, but...
Straight talk.
It's really, you're going into the market and I'm noticing $1 increase in what I normally buy.
No, you're still talking like you talk. You got to get that high voice.
Okay.
I went in the market like, God, what am I, crazy? Did I get it? You got to go up there.
Okay.
So keep going, straight talk.
So I'm at the market the other day and there's this woman and she's in my way and I'm trying to get to the food and the stuff is not on sale like I thought it was supposed to be. And then I see
Read
that...
and sung.
Sorry, that one is the...
Repetition.
Repetition. The food that we eat brings us life, but if life brings us nothing but bills and duty and chores and errands, and they don't take us anywhere. And
Lost world. Fancy schmancy.
Oh. According to the GDP, let me rephrase that.
It's hard to do it when you're talking because we don't talk that way.
No.
See,
it's almost as if I'm writing a letter or something. It has come to my attention that food prices have escalated beyond the normal day-to-day.
More poetry. Come on.
Okay.
Fancy schmancy.
It has come to my attention that food, which is life, which is what sustains us, which is what gives us a reason to be with our loved ones and break daily bread and love one another and come together as community.
Good, but you're not writing in that style. You're still talking like you talk.
Okay.
It would have to be poetic bullshit.
Okay, I thought it was, but
because,
yeah.
no,
Okay.
you were doing not good phrases.
Okay.
But you could talk that way.
Okay.
So, but you got to write poetically.
And what's the one that's abstract?
Because life streamed out like a rhythm upon the cloistered hills of existence, breaks however many stars that fuel the clouds that break into the heart and expose the truth of your own soul, rigid against tribulation, striven against death, broken open against life, the platitudes of existence and the small icicles that form inside the caverns of your soul break out of you. That's bullshit, but that's Lost World. You got to be able to do that shit.
Okay, wow, okay.
And it's hard to do it when you're talking. See, that's why this is about writing. It's not about talking.
Okay.
So it's harder for you to do that. But that's what you would have to shift into. And then keep going, absence of field.
And that is where I'm almost, ask not what your country can do for you.
No,
But
you're making sense.
Oh, okay, well, okay. So food, life, love, death, honor.
That's a field. Because you're saying one word at a time, each one is different, but that's a field. It's a logical progression. So each unit can't be the same as the one before, or else you're establishing a field, like an electrical field, a gravitational field. This is no field. So the words and the phrases are like all jumbled up. But if you just do the same thing, that's a field. So you could do two of them, but then the third thing's got to be a phrase. Then another phrase, then something, you got to just keep breaking sentence structure around. You have to practice these things. They're not as simple as
No, this is difficult.
you think,
Very difficult. Yeah.
Custom shaved nether of any kind of the sofa retains black teeth of soft. There, in the eyeballs of no one came it father, hair, broken nostril, the shiny light of the sea that protrudes over the waves. Here, nowhere, stream, captain, broken arrow. It's always in the gut of nothing was done. He was a champion. See, I'm just blah, 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 blah. That's absence of field.
Right.
Nothing can ever connect or converge. You can't have a field. Writing a sentence is a field.
Okay.
Subject, verb, object, preposition. It's
Okay.
sentences are fields. This would be an absence of field.
Math, gold, belly of the beast, golden wheat, air.
Something long now, because you've done a lot of short things.
Ask not what your country can do for you.
Good, but don't finish the sentence. Ask not what your country can, and then stop. See?
Okay.
But that's a technique that's been used in writing in the 20th century by a lot of writers, including James Joyce, the stream of consciousness. And you might do that if you were having a character who was either having a hallucination or they were demented, having dementia, or someone is falling and you're trying to, what it's like to be falling, what goes through a person's mind, not in normal sentences, but everything is colliding because it's all happening in 5 seconds as they're falling. So you could use the technique to, someone's drowning, you would use absence of field for that.
And so in these 4 other tonalities, not the regular voice, quote unquote, that sharpens the tool, that strengthens the muscle. How does that help?
Do you pay attention to how the writer is working, or do you just enjoy the story?
Depends. Depends on whether I'm playing something or reading something and there are other distractions going on.
Okay, what about music? Well, do you listen to any kind of classical music at all?
Yes, I have. Mm-hmm.
Well, have you ever listened to Bruckner and really paid attention to what Bruckner does compared to, let's say, Brahms? Bruckner is absence of field, a lot. Bruckner's got tonalities and changes that are very mysterious and very sublime, whereas Brahms has got these melodies that roll over, almost like to be read and sung. So if you pay attention to writers, and you pay attention to composers, and you pay attention to almost any kind of art, Picasso, any painter, you will see that they do different things all the time. Yeah, they might have their basic, I'll say, writing in their own voice approach, but they use all these other techniques. The next time you read a book, a good novel, I promise you, you're going to see writing like you in your own voice. You're going to see Lost World, which is poetic, fancy description or something. You're going to see read and sung once in a while. Look, Charles Dickens opens up Tale of Two Cities with, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the season of this, it was the winter of discontent. You're going to see repetition. You're also going to see absence of field sometime where the work is very stream of consciousness, whether it's James Joyce or Virginia Woolf or Toni Morrison or writers who do that. You're going to see it, but you can't be reading for pleasure. You have to be reading like you're paying attention. I know how to drive a car. I would have no idea how to fix the engine. But a mechanic, he understands how the engine works. And when people look at writing, most people, they don't look under the hood to see what's going on. They just learn how to drive and turn the wheel and start and stop and go fast and go slow. But a writer, if you study writing, that question you asked me, Karen, you will go, oh, look, he just went from writing like you talk to fancy schmancy. Oh, look, he just went from fancy schmancy to straight talk. Holden Caulfield, Catcher in the Rye, does it all the time. So you will see those four tones and the tone of writing in your own voice. You will see that being done just the way Beethoven went. You will see these changes of tone, of tonality, of dynamic. That's why I call it tonal dynamics, because it's dynamic, it changes. So you're going to see it in literature all over the place.
So is the first part of becoming a better writer to pay attention, not just to your own writing, to other works of art, not even literature, but music?
There's no great writer that hasn't paid attention to almost every writer that came before them, going all the way back to Gilgamesh, the Iliad, the Odyssey, Augustine's Confessions, Catullus's poems in the 1st century BC, Dante. They know it all, and they don't just read for pleasure. They read like a writer. They read like an artist. They pay attention. They study. Oh, look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. And then they copy it a little bit, and then they extend it even further. Artists are always influenced by the artists who came before them, and then they go one better. So, yeah, whatever you do, whether you're a sculptor or a painter or a writer or a composer, you got to study the people who came before you and see what they're doing. Because it's a conversation. Artists are talking to each other across the millennia. They're talking, and you want to see what the conversation is. You want to know what Dante said to Shakespeare, and what Shakespeare said to Homer, and what Homer said to Philip Roth or Anne Sexton. What are they saying? Not in the message, but in the technique. In the technique. Oh, look what Bruckner did. Look at the way he extended that chord and did a variation. That was interesting. That was different from anything Beethoven did. Oh, look what Mahler did. Look how he did that. You study it. Any composer, you ask them, man, they've studied them all.
So being conscious
and you
of
want to see absence of field? Check out Elliott Carter, oldest. He might be dead by now, but he was in his hundreds, 100 the last time I heard. He wrote a string quartet just recently. Listen to Beethoven's last 6 string quartets. A lot of that is absence of field. As a matter of fact, if you listen to Beethoven's Piano Sonata 110 or 111, I can't remember which one it is. I was listening to it one day, and there's like a 4-bar section in there that if you hear it, if you're listening, you'll hear it. It's jazz. Where he got it, I don't know. I mean, boom. But if you listen, all of a sudden it's jazz. And then it goes back to the normal kind of progressions that they did in Beethoven's time. So his string quartets, his late piano concertos, you're going to hear a lot of stuff and you're going to go, whoa, where'd that come from? How did he do that? Because as an artist, you always want to see not what did they do, but how did they do it? How did they create that? It's not about the plot or the story. It's about the technique. How did they do that? How did they do that?